Hey guys, Destinygundum, and today I'm going to be doing something different than what I normally do, which is like reviews and whatever. But yeah, so when I do post videos up, I often show off like a lot of the background stuff that I have and like a lot of the stuff that I work on. But I just wanted to make a video to just kind of show off, well, not really show off, but just kind of like help tell my story a little bit. So basically, this is tips for being a collector. So basically, collecting is a very cool hobby, and it gets you a lot of interesting looks because then you have the good side and the bad side. You know, some people view it as kind of a commitment to a certain thing or an object or a certain franchise, and you're kind of committed into it, and you obviously love the franchise so much that you're obviously collecting a lot of stuff on it. Other people view it as on a more negative side where it's like it's not, there's no really point to it. So basically I just wanted to come and kind of bring in my thoughts on this whole argument because collecting is definitely a controversial issue among society, but a lot of people are opening up to the idea of collecting more and more, and it's definitely good to surround yourself with people that respect collections and respect the things that you definitely make and build and collect and all sorts of things that you love. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is my collection today. As of February, oh, as of February 3rd, 2016. So I've definitely come a really long way. In seventh grade, my original collection was about less than half the size of this stuff. Yeah, that is actually my original shelf right there. But yeah, so it definitely changed a lot over time. Now, when I was a kid, which was about close to like 6, 7, 8 years ago, basically like it was like whenever I saw people's collection videos, I always thought like, wow, it would be really cool to have a collection like that. But obviously, since you're a kid, you can't really like buy a lot of stuff on your own unless you are spoiled. But I don't know. But or just like work hard for the money. But yeah. So basically, what I did was I actually just turned to the other end of the spectrum, which is you just start building stuff. You kind of build up your own collection, like literally, where you just keep building on stuff until you just feel like you have a good amount of stuff, and you're like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. It's like yeah, it's kind of like that. But funny enough, all the stuff that I built in the past is all boxed up because it's kind of it's just kind of a fun reminder of the past. Actually, I do have some older stuff from the past right here, which is my Lancelot Albion, not Lancelot Conquista from a long, long time ago, which is a very cool scratch build that I did when I was a kid. So it definitely kind of opened up my scratch building possibilities. So yeah, so basically there's that. And then so let's just go into like general tips. So basically, whenever the first tip is a collection is something that you piece together. Not only is there stuff from your favorite franchise, but there's also stuff from your favorite franchises where there's multiple franchises. So obviously this is not all Gundam stuff. There's Guardians of the Galaxy stuff up there. There's Gundam stuff, Black Rock Shooter, Evangelion, Eureka 7, and all sorts of other animes and stuff that I really enjoy. So basically, when you put up a collection, you want to make it so they all look well together. Now, that kind of sounds kind of weird because it's just like you could just kind of throw it up there and it looks pretty cool, especially with like Gundam stuff. But you just want to appropriately place everything so it looks kind of cool. So yeah, like I have all my Guardians of the Galaxy stuff up there, so I have my Sums, and then all my SD stuff is up here along with some random Build Fighters stuff, along with some Build Fighters artwork. So it's definitely good to like put backgrounds onto your collection to kind of give it like it's almost like taking a scene out of an anime or like a movie or something. Now, unfortunately, I haven't set up the scene yet for my Black Rock Shooter, and most of this stuff in front is new stuff, so that's why it's covering Black Rock Shooter stuff. But there's that. So then basically, and then also you want to make like certain props and stuff. Like this is just the Build Fighters logo blown up and done in a 3D format. And then basically just kind of make it presentable. Like you don't want stuff just hanging around and like stuff just kind of messed up. Like if I have stuff that I'm not really ready to put in a certain area yet, I just put it on my table because your table is probably going to be the messiest thing in the room because you're not going to be like putting your table isn't a shelf, like you could put more stuff on it. So there's that. But also like also got to keep in mind like the stuff around the table. So obviously this is like what, like a 6 foot by 4 foot table, or yeah. And basically I'm not going to be dedicating the whole thing to building stuff. Obviously there's going to be like mini shelves where you can put smaller items like a gashapon or just some small stuff. I actually have prize figures up here because I have this whole Kill la Kill thing up here. But yeah, so you definitely want to make sure that everything, it's kind of like you're orchestrating chaos. So you want to make it so it looks presentable from a distance. Like, you know, it looks really crazy and messy on the table portion, but like, you know, all those vivid colors and stuff, and it's definitely something that's kind of eye-catching. Now, everyone has their own idea of something that's clean and like a clean collection, or a very orderly collection. Now, obviously, I still want to tweak a lot of my stuff. That's why there's a lot of empty holes everywhere. But I definitely want to make it look more clean, because right now it does look a bit messy. Mostly because I'm trying to sell a lot of my stuff, and yeah, there's that. So yeah. So what's the next tip? I guess it would be you know, collect stuff from all different kind of ages. So it's cool if you're totally just dedicated to collecting one thing, like Star Wars or Star Trek or G.I. Joe, you know, or Transformers. A lot of Transformers fans just really love getting into Transformers, but there's actually one Facebook group I'm a part of, which is called Plastic Crack Fiends, and they are just an amazing group. And you definitely, if you join their group, they're definitely really cool people, and they all like love just plastic stuff. So they all have a really open mind about the stuff that you bring to the table when you show off your collection, and they kind of like, you know, talk about like what you have as opposed, and also bring in like their thoughts about what they have. So you definitely see a lot of crazy stuff. So definitely involve yourself in different groups where they kind of challenge you to collect things other than what you already collect. So right here I have pop vinyls. I have not only anime figures, but like TMNT figures, and I do have Transformers, but they're kind of old now, so they're kind of like tucked away because I don't really collect them anymore, like hardcore. But yeah, and this is actually my miscellaneous stuff, which is just stuff that I really enjoy in total. Like there's Kids Next Door stuff, there's Pac-Man stuff on here, there's what was it, Dragon Ball Z stuff, Speed Racer stuff, you know, the DeLorean from Back to the Future, Lego Movie Shelf. Like, you know, you definitely want to, you know, keep an open mind about collecting, and be open to collecting more different things, because it's definitely cool to see what else there is out there. Like, you know, I know this one guy who actually, who wasn't really open to collecting Gunpla, but he definitely, like, you know, people kind of persuaded him into trying it, and then he tried it once and he bought a Banshee Norn. But overall, it's pretty good, because, you know, you kind of experience all these different things, and then you kind of decide whether or not to add that into your collection. So there's that. So, yeah, and I guess one more tip would be to keep your collection clean. Okay, so this is definitely a big thing, because you know, dust is like the collector's worst enemy. It gets in everywhere, especially black stuff. Like I have Lego Movie stuff right here. You can actually see this gray film all over it. So that's kind of what's the word? It's kind of uncool when you kind of when you don't clean up your collection every now and then. Unfortunately, I haven't had too much time to just sweep everything up, but yeah, it definitely does take some time, because you gotta take everything down. You gotta make sure everything is clean. Like some stuff, they actually have dust in like certain areas. You just might want to like wash it or something, or maybe just use like special dust stuff. So yeah. So, and I guess one last tip would be to, you know, be open about collecting. It's not really like, you know, it's hard to kind of keep a lid on this kind of stuff, because it's pretty huge, and yeah, and it's pretty fantastical. You know, you get all sorts of fun reactions, and it's also you get to see what kind of people you kind of surround yourself with, because like, you know, yeah, you know, your friends are gonna support your hobby, but they're also gonna kind of like, they're gonna try to, you know, figure out where you stand on this kind of stuff. So yeah, so basically you want to keep it out in the open. Like, don't just like wave it around or anything, but like, you know, keep it there, because if you like collecting and you're a collector, you definitely want to keep like this part. You want to be open about this part of your life, because it's almost like bottlenecking something that you are kind of like insecure about, I guess. But don't be insecure about collecting, because it's such a cool hobby. I mean, like, you know, how many people can say that they have a whole bunch of stuff in their house that's displayed and it's actually from one thing? Like, you know, most people buy like, you know, all sorts of random knickknacks, but what happens to those in the future? They get thrown away. But this stuff, everything is kind of there. It's kind of like a curated history, or like a museum of like all the things that you're into. It's kind of like an open book into your mind. So that's pretty, and it's a pretty noteworthy thing. So yeah, and I guess that pretty much wraps up this video. This is just kind of a quick tip out there for everyone who's right now wants to get into collecting, and then just kind of feels like, oh, it's kind of difficult to start building up a collection, or it's just people who just, you know, who just kind of want to hear about what collecting is all about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video, and I'll see you guys next time.